Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Underbelly Hours. This is an Adela-less episode, unfortunately. Sorry, she is off fighting, I don't know, some crusaders in some far-off land that I know nothing about. She disappears, and she comes back with battle scars and PTSD, and we have to usually just go from there. But we'll deal with that when the time comes. But for these next two episodes, you got the one and only me. I'm not a special person, but hey, it's me, your boy, Dan. And we got a great episode today. We are sitting down and talking with the one and only Dominic Dolio. Is that how you say it?
That's correct.
All right. I don't know why, it's an easy name to pronounce, but there's always some of those names that are deceivingly simple to read, and then they say it, it's oh no, it's actually Dolio.
Okay. It's actually Donatello.
It's actually D'Amelio. He's the brother of the D'Amelio sisters, the TikTok stars that have plagued the nation. But no, he has an amazing band called Private Instigators, and we're going to get into a lot of crazy stories about the music and much more, because, Dom, you're an interesting fellow. You've been through a lot.
Oh.
With cars and stuff, and all this other stuff that I hear about.
We have both survived everything so far.
I'm glad.
You've gone through a lot yourself.
Well, my last name's Dick. That's about it that I've had to go through. Growing up with that, but anyways, yeah.
Was it hard when you grew up?
Only at a certain age, and then it became real hard. We might have to save this intro for a little bit later in the episode so it doesn't turn people away. But, you're listening to The Underbelly Hours in my basement.
Take off your coat, stay a while!
Alright. Woo! Hey! What's up, everybody? It's your girl, it's the boy. All sorts of things are happening on the show today.
Welcome to the show.
Oh, it'll be a good time.
If you like what you hear,
Are you ready?
you can find us on Underbelly Hours,
All sorts of
on all the socials, where you get your favorite local takes on the local greats.
Here it comes, ready? Sing it with us.
Don,
Yes.
how's it going?
Splendid. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Welcome to the show.
Thanks
for coming on. And real quick, just let it come from the mouth of the man himself. What's your story, man? What do you do? Who are you?
Well, my name is Dominic. I play guitar in a band called Private Instigators, and I pretty much do everything in the group except lead vocals. At two occasions, someone said essentially I'm the Elwood Blues of the band. And I guess driving a loud, old, black American car also contributes to that. So
You got the aesthetic now?
I guess so. I just don't have the manners. But I would say it's actually pretty accurate. And I've been doing this with pretty much whoever will put up with me for the past couple years. It's been a pretty steady lineup. But the next two shows we have are going to be interesting because our drummer pulled a Dave Grohl and is now stepping up to vocals.
That son of a bitch.
And
Who
guitar.
does he think he is?
His name is Tommy, and he is great.
Does he have long hair?
He does. You might have seen him before. He's in a few other bands. One is called Comfort Scarcity, which is they're playing a show today, which is why he can't be here. And he was in
Lack of commitment. Fire him. Get him out.
Oh, he's been great. I'm surprised he's still around. He puts up with me because I'm a pill sometimes.
Yeah.
Maybe more than that. Maybe a horse pill. But so
I can relate.
Yes. He's and he was also in two other bands. Like one's a Guns N' Roses tribute band. Another one was Motley Crue tribute, and then an Alice Cooper one. So three.
So he's got the voice.
He was not the front person of any of those groups. He was the drummer.
So he's not doing the 80s hair metal, reaching up to that high C or high.
He could.
You good?
He could. He can do falsettos.
Oh, I'm talking about like chest voice. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's where what's his stupid face Axl Rose, like that's this weird like mixed chest voice territory where he's getting up there until he blows out his voice and sounds like absolute garbage, which he usually
I'm sure Tommy could manage that.
Yeah?
Oh yeah, he's a great vocalist.
We'll have to check it out sometime now that he's stepping up to vocals for Private Instigators.
Yes, this will be quite interesting.
But yeah, so let's before we give the audience a taste of the actual music of your band, we like to play a little introductory game with our guests that have never been on the show before. It's called the Synthesis Game. It's real easy. It's basically just an excuse for us to ask you stupid questions. The questions are going to ask you to describe your music in non-conventional music ways. So, without further ado, we'll just get right into it. First question. If your music... Do you read? Have you
read books or read music?
Read books.
Yes.
If your music was a book series, or a book, or just, a world of fiction in the literary world. I'm going off. What book would your music be like?
It would probably be a children's book because we know we could sell quite a few of them that way, and we can get right to the point. And pictures always help. It always captures the attention of the reader, or in some cases the viewer.
Okay.
And it would we couldn't do a book right now because the story's not over. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm saying even an existing book.
Right.
Well,
that's
I'm saying
right. So I'm looking into it too far.
Right.
I have a tendency to do that, but
we've had huge philosophical answers with some of the simplest questions, like.
Well, I would actually, because I think it'd be really awesome to actually have like artwork that also ties to like the band, so to say. Mm-hmm. So like if something is like, say the van broke down, you would have like a picture of us trying to fill the radiator again, and that could be kind of funny looking or something like that. And if the times like where we played bigger shows, it could almost be like a setting like Where's Waldo, except we're beyond the stage right there. It's like, and then we were playing here, and then we didn't make it home as quickly as we wanted to. Right. I would actually put it like that.
I like that. Yeah.
That's how I would do it if I.
Yeah, it has. That's still youthful, whimsical energy. It's not like a Lord of the Rings where you're going super deep into allegories and.
Oh, we could. That could be like I don't know. What's a book version of like what's called a director's cut? Is there something like that? Like I know there's like extended chapters where they re-release a book to obviously try to capitalize on it again with 50 additional pages. Yeah,
would you just call that like a? I think it's just like you keep the same title but just say like updated or revised edition with the extra chapters.
Sure, well, we could do it in that too. We could always re-release it or an audiobook. For people that are driving place to place, that other bands want to listen to us while on tour, through their earbuds, or truck drivers, or anyone else that's kind of alone for a couple hours, because I drive a lot and I like to actually listen to audio. Not just music, but I'll listen to just little stories sometimes and backstories on bands. So I guess it'd be a children's book and an audio book.
All right, a children's audio book that can be re-released with extra chapters. All right, good. So keep that in your mind, ladies and gentlemen. Second question: if your music was a kitchen appliance, what kitchen appliance would it be?
Probably a blender, because we would just tear everything else up.
All right. Simple.
And I like milkshakes. I can't lose this. So.
Well, you gotta have the milkshake while reading the children's book.
Oh yeah, of course, and it's really good to crack one egg in it too.
Yes, yeah, I did that with protein shakes for a long time.
I've never done a pinch of salt. I heard
is that a thing?
I heard a pinch of salt will just make a milkshake that much better, but I haven't done that. I've done the egg.
I'm gonna call shenanigans on that one. I feel like that's
maybe we
Should
should
just throw everything out of whack.
we should maybe experiment sometime. You know,
should.
yeah, we can have 2 different things,
Yeah.
and one of us can be blindfolded and see if we can actually taste the difference or something.
Yeah, like Rhett and Link style.
Right.
All right,
they're both the same.
kitchen. They're both. So kitchen appliance would be a blender. Good. So children's book, revised editions, and audiobook. With a milkshake from a private instigator blender. Third question. If your music was an aroma, like an aromatherapy kind of thing, a scent, if you will, what kind of aroma would your band be?
That's very interesting. Huh. Because the smells I'm fond of are probably smells that most other people aren't fond of. So I'm trying to think. And not like in a bad way. I'm talking like, I like the smell of gasoline.
I was just going to say gasoline. Like
Yes. And not everyone's going to like that. Some would rather not use internal combustion for transportation anymore. So I'm trying to think, what would other people...
trying to be, you know,
See, this is
considerate.
me. Yeah, this is me trying to go like, okay, I know what I want. Now,
Right.
what would everyone else want? Well, that changes things. So,
Well, what do you think fits the band's sound? What scent fits the band's sound?
you know what? I would actually say steak or rump in particularly.
Okay.
I know what rump is, so
Can you give a little short description of rump for our listeners and maybe host that doesn't know what that is?
What am I allowed to say?
Pretty much.
Okay.
I think.
It's
I mean, you are now trying to market to the children's book.
right.
market,
Yeah.
so-
So it's then I'll use very polite terms. That is a cow's derriere, and it is a very tasty part. I guess it's when you have seasoning. Can we have seasoning with this air freshener?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So like seasoning, and to me, like when you're, I guess, grilling, it's always a good time when you're like having a barbecue or a grill.
Yeah.
Grilling or something like that. So I guess it'd be a sense of relief. I know not everyone's going to want steak or beef or anything like that. I mean, I guess there are veggie burgers out there for other people that don't want something like that. But it would have to be the smell of something that's welcoming. Because when you're smelling that, you're generally going to a person's place to have a good time and, you know, just relax and everything else. Not like a bad smell like, I don't know, differential fluid. I don't know if you know what that smells like, but that's, even when it's good, it's bad.
Yeah.
So it's, sorry, this is a bit technical and all that stuff, or like the smell of burning hair is never good. I mean, it's a bad smell and usually someone's hurt. So that's not a pleasant thing. But when I smell like barbecue or steak or something, it's always a good time.
Yeah.
You're seeing your friends or there's a party going on.
And you know you're about to eat some delicious cow ass.
Yeah, you said it.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. I mean, you know, insert jokes about eating that here.
Insert into cow ass. Got it.
Yes. So, you heard all the answers, folks. I'll run them down real quick again. Children's book with added chapters that is also available on audio. Whilst enjoying a very hearty milkshake from Private Instigators blender, while also smelling the not sweet, but the
smell of ass.
the smell of cow ass being just masterfully grilled, you know, while having all the bevies with the boys and stuff and a grill out. So imagine those three things, and then we will be playing the first song right now, which is, what do you want to start off with, Don? What do you want to...
Why don't we do Let's Go? Actually, that's one of our newest recordings.
All
and
right.
Tommy is actually singing this one.
And this is Let's Go by the Private Instigators on the Underbelly Hours in my basement.
you sounded like there's this guy on YouTube who I'm actually gonna be filming with him next weekend for this channel called Regular Car Reviews, and he does these like sarcastic reviews of cars, and he goes into a voice sometimes like that. It's like Crown Victoria, the official car of conceal and carry at my daughter's daycare. like you like hear all these like weird things. Oh, that's a good car, Honda Fit. So,
all right.
yeah.
And we're back. So that was fun.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on the show. And so that's a wrap, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'm kidding. Let's get into the inception of Private Instigators. Let's get into what started it all off, and fast track to where we are now today.
Okay, well, this can go back quite a while, but as far as when we started using the name, it was when my then drummer and I were always playing music together, and at one point I was the lead singer, and I later on decided that I wasn't good enough to do leads, but I was kind of, in my opinion, a little bit better at trying to land shows and I guess do all the work off stage.
Right.
So I took vocal lessons for a little while, and I didn't progress as quickly as I wanted to. So I decided, you know what, I can't do this, and if I still want to play, I need to step down from the microphone and focus on my instrument and focus on the networking and PR and everything like that.
Right.
So
You had the better business hat.
I try my best. I mean, that was kind of like what became the reason why my hair is green all the time. I only did it for stage presence originally because I was jealous of my then bass player. He had purple hair, and one day I got like a DM from someone that saw us at the show and said, "Who's the guy with the purple hair?" I'm like, his name is Keith, and I was
It's not me, so I'm offended.
right. Oh, I'm not offended by anything. I had too much happen to me. I mean, sometimes we all get like that, but I was like, you know what? If he's memorable for doing that, then I gotta start doing it. So I started doing it just to go on stage, but then I would keep it, and I would when I'd be out in public, sometimes people would ask like, "Why is your hair green?" I'd say, "Oh, I got a band." Like, "Oh, really? Well, my wife does interviews and all this stuff." I'm like, "Oh, so keeping it green is a conversation starter that could lead to other things." So I started doing green all the time, and frankly, the worse it looks, like right now, I need to dye it. But then more people say, "Oh, that's so neat looking." I'm like, my roots are showing right now.
Yeah.
It's like, it looks terrible, but it's like
it's still a
it's
eye grabber.
So I guess sometimes you have to, keep it.
Yeah, you're a walking billboard at that point, pretty much.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
exactly. That's exactly it. So back to the band. So my then drummer and I, Jeff and I, we just put up an ad on Craigslist one day, and I said, looking for singer, because we were at the time, we had a bass player, and he had quit because he actually told me that I shouldn't be allowed to listen to punk music because I wanted to do more than play to the neighborhood, and I wanted to go on and do more
Has
than
he not heard about
what how the Clash was on a major label.
Yeah.
I guess not, because even then I was like, because I saw him, I met the bass player originally, the one that quit. I met him I saw him at 2 shows. I think one was for the Mr. T Experience and the other one was for Agent Orange. So we were going, and I saw him 3 times, and he was wearing the same hat every time. After the 3rd time, I went up to him and started talking to him. So it wasn't like he was a poser, I was a poser. We were going to the same punk shows.
Yeah. And
I was like, all right, after the 3rd time, I got to talk to this guy. So flash forward a few years, and so Keith responded to this ad that I put up, and I said, I said my influences, I said Little Richard and Johnny Thunders. So, like, those guys. And he said he had never seen an ad like that had both of those. It's usually one or the other, like all the 77 punk or all the 1956 rock and roll. Never both.
So from the start of the band, you were looking for that synthesis of like classic sounds with the punk sounds.
Right.
You wanted to blend that like old, just classic rock and roll sound, doo-wop influences with the energy of like punk rock.
Right, or at least the original wave of it.
Yeah.
I mean, my opinion. I mean, but I still dig stuff that came out afterwards, but it's not a musical influence. Like, I love Suicidal Tendencies and Black Flag and some Minor Threat songs and all that stuff, but I don't bring that to the band. Hopefully the work ethic, but not the music.
Yeah.
So that's all there. So when Keith came into the picture, we decided we needed to rename the band, and we eventually agreed to Private Instigators. And I thought
What was the name before?
When it was you remember, oh my gosh, when it was just me and Jeff and whoever else would put up with us, it was called Stang Stomper, and that was a term for like any car that could beat a Mustang. And but not everyone got it. Not everyone's as into automobiles as I am, and that's a big hobby of
I mean,
mine.
I would infer that that's what that would mean, because I don't know what else Stang would be referring to.
I don't know, but it'd be a cool name for a cat.
A Stang Stomper?
No, just Stang.
Stang.
Yeah. And I don't know, like, when it comes to, this sounds silly, but I guess you'll appreciate this. There's, like, the next 3 cats I ever get in my entire life, I always name them after bass players and bands. I think, because, I don't know, I think they have the cool stage names.
They usually do.
So, whatever it is, I don't care what he looks like. The next cat I'm going to get, his name is going to be Flea. And so
I like that. I approve.
I was around like 4 kittens yesterday. I was like, which one of you is Flea? Which one of you is coming home with me?
Do you have a cat right now?
I have 2. One is called Sid Vicious.
Okay.
And the other one is Milo. I don't know any Milo bass players unless we're going to reference the Descendants or something. And I think that was the singer. But Milo is a reference to Milo and Otis, that kids movie.
Yeah.
From like, what, 1987 or 89?
Yeah, kids don't know what that is.
Right. I watched it years after it came out. I didn't see it brand new. I'm not that old, but yeah, because my cat Milo looks like that one. Looks like a little orange tabby cat. And I was like, I gotta get a pug. I gotta get an Otis.
Yeah, right.
I gotta get an Otis, but I'm not home enough to have a dog. I love dogs.
Dogs are a little bit more needy.
I love dogs too, don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't be a good dog owner because sometimes I'm gone for like a day and a half, and I wouldn't want the dog lonely.
No, and then especially if they're like, you can't do that with a new dog either. Like,
right.
You gotta spend a lot of time with them, and then, then they get the separation anxiety, and they start tearing up shit when you're gone. You're like, where the fuck is he?
That's why my cats are, well, there's 2 of them, so they're never lonely, and they play with each other, and there's never any furniture that's torn up. They're good little guys.
Good.
So I'm sorry how we went from the band forming to cats, but
No, I was gonna make a cat joke because I'm not a cat person, but
please go for it.
It's already.
I'm sure it's furry nice.
So then the band started getting more gigs, and we started making progress in the scene, and I'm really trying hard to not kick you out right now for that.
I'll behave, I promise.
No, I'm kidding.
So, well, we I think I don't remember what number it was, but it was when we were less than 10 shows in. We actually opened for the Misfits at House of Blues. I think it might have been like our 7th show or something.
Dang. That's pretty quick.
But that was only because I knew Jerry only for a couple of years. So it wasn't like luck, like, oh, we got picked or whatever. I asked for a while, and we made it happen. And putting us in front of the right audience went over really good. And it's something I hope we can do again sometime in the near future. And we and this was obviously before Danzig came back. We did not open for them at Riot Fest or anything like that, or yesterday at Aftershock. So yeah, they just played yesterday too. So
yeah, but I think that's an important thing that you just said. Is like you just asked. and you probably asked quite a few times. I think people like forget that that's a thing that you can do. It's not like, you know, don't think that anything's out of your league. It's always just worth a shot in trying to get a response. Like ask and send the email, send follow-ups, because you never know who actually is going to be like check you out and then say yes. But you know, Michael Jordan or whatever said you missed all the shots you don't take. I think that was Gretzky, but you know, athletes. Hey. But yeah, and it worked out great for you. You're trying for the Misfits, and
you're right.
A lot more than that.
I mean, it always helps to ask. I mean, when I'm not afraid to ask for help, and I also don't mind helping out, even if I can't be there. If someone needs someone to talk to, or if someone has an issue or they need advice, I never like ignore someone reaching out to me, and if I can help in any way that I feel as though it's reasonable, I will.
Yeah.
And it really is that simple for landing shows sometimes. I mean, it wasn't as simple as just saying, hey, can you put me on?
Right.
I mean, I had to build up a relationship and prove I was trustworthy and that, like, whatever else had to happen, happened. But it just took work, and then we actually got to play a couple more shows with him, and it was great. And then obviously when Glenn came back, that changed a few things, and only bands that are, I guess, known can open at that point. So, I mean, I understand it.
And that's probably more on the promoters, side of things, where they're like, let's get more people.
Right. I understand that. And it makes sense from a business aspect, which is why I know we won't be able to do that anytime soon. But that's it, and the relationship is still actually pretty good. It's kind of silly that, like, he'll, like, respond to my call or text faster than, like, some people that are 20 minutes away from me.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty cool. Yeah, and then, so, is that, after opening for the Misfits a few times, you said, was that kind of within the same time frame? Like,
it went kind of year after year. Every time they played Chicago, we would be allowed to open usually.
Okay.
The only exception I think we didn't get to do was play the Vic Theater. And I think there was some other group called like Turbo Vampire or something that opened. And
what a name.
It's something like that. But
Turbo Vampire.
Something like that.
Sounds like a shitty PlayStation 1 game. Sorry, Turbo Vampire.
Or like a B movie or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like someone
Right.
steals the Batmobile and starts terrorizing the city instead of helping it.
I'll fund it. I'll fund that.
So we actually got to go on tour with them for a little bit, all the way out to the East Coast, and that was great. That was a lot of fun. And at one point we got to open for Doyle, their guitarist.
Doyle rules.
Yes. We got to open for him in at the Whiskey A Go-Go in Los Angeles.
Oh, snap.
And that was really...
legendary venue.
It was great. And we went over really good with the Los Angeles audience. And...
that makes a lot of sense.
And
I feel like you guys fit that vibe.
I was surprised. I was actually really nervous. Really? That was probably the most nervous I had been because the locals told me it's actually kind of difficult to win over a Los Angeles audience because they've seen everything there.
Well, they're all just jaded,
right?
Nose in the air, just like.
But they actually paid attention to us and they liked us. We weren't just like another punk band on the bill. We were, doing. Backup vocals and all these other things. And I had, I forgot what guitar I brought. No, you know what? I don't even think I brought one. We had, Tommy had a friend that lived about 3 blocks from the Whiskey. And he must have had I'm not making this up, about 30 guitars. And just said, oh, you're in town, take 2 of them to the show. Whatever you want. And I guess I picked up what I felt as though was most comfortable and had a look to it also. Yeah. So I didn't show up with a Fender Strat or a Gibson Les Paul. Nothing wrong with those. They're great guitars. In fact, I really like the way a Stratocaster feels. But
you went with the...
I went with a knockoff Rickenbacker. And it actually felt better than the actual Rickenbacker. I don't know if...
Yeah.
I mean, do you play guitar or do you play
Yeah.
bass? So sometimes I've come to notice that almost the knockoffs are sometimes nicer than the real deal.
Yeah, sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes there's just this weird gem that comes out of the factory that's like, why is this sounding so good?
Right.
You know, you can walk into a guitar store and, you know, you have the $1,000 price tags and $2,000 price tags, and you're looking around, they feel great, they play great, and you're just, you know, you're not going to afford this, but you just love playing it, and then you pick off something in your price range that's like $300-$400, and it sounds way better, and it's like, what? And then you instantly buy it because it's like, this is a steal.
Yeah, I've had more fun with cheaper guitars than expensive ones.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you're exactly right. It's kind of funny how that goes sometimes. I mean, it's not just like the most expensive stuff is the best stuff. Maybe the wood is a little bit different, or the better wood, or the or the wire's extra thick, or whatever.
Right.
Okay, so maybe the quality in itself is better, but it doesn't always satisfy the player.
Yeah.
So,
and it's like a, you know, it's like Harry Potter. The wand has to choose the wizard and all that stuff. You know, you can. What's the point I'm trying to make? Like a good guitar player. Well, I guess skill has nothing to do with it. I guess it's just the feel of the guitar player. It's like everyone has their own touch on the instrument, and that can be like. I think there is very like important, minute differences with people's touch on guitars, that somebody can make this guitar sound amazing, and then another player picks it up and just makes it sound like trash, just because it's like they don't have the feel for that guitar. And that just means that guitar is meant for that guitar player, and it's just like this match made in heaven.
I know exactly what you mean. I mean, sometimes it can come down to, at least my point of view, is the neck, because when I used to play early on, I would only use 3 strings to make a power chord. And then later on, I started using 4 to 5. And I don't know if that's technically a power chord, maybe it's a full chord, whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess you could just keep stacking the fifths and octaves, but then you'd be, you know, pretty spread out on the fretboard.
Right. I mean, that was the difference between listening to 90s Green Day, which I really like a lot. I mean, like, Nimrod and Before, I love.
Yeah.
And that was usually 3 strings, and then you listen to, like, the Ramones, and it's always 4 to 5 strings, so you're going from playing like this, I'm not flipping you off, by the way, to playing like that, and then like this, and so then you kind of need a little thinner neck to manage all that. You try doing that on like a thick 1950s style
your hand starts cramping real fast.
Yeah, it's not really comfortable, so I guess that's why I started enjoying kind of cheaper guitars, because the neck was technically thinner, there's less wood. So... Sorry to be a bit technical, but I know you understand.
Oh, no, yeah. And man, a lot of our listeners are musicians themselves and stuff, so
awesome.
This is all good talk.
Great.
But let's get back into some of the show opportunities that you guys have had. So you guys have played at Warped Tour. Were you a part of that when it was like still touring?
Yes, we were.
Right, because Warped Tour like stopped actually touring for a while, right? Like it just became like a little Chicago fest, or
I think technically the last one, I could be wrong here, I think technically the last one was actually in Cleveland, and that was like 2 years ago, where it was just like the one day of the year, or they might have had like 3 or 5 the whole year, but they weren't back to back like we're stating, like the original way. We did play technically the last traditional year, let's phrase it that way. And the last one that we did was in Indianapolis. And there's actually a little funny story to that, if you'd like to hear.
Please.
Okay, great. So, on the way back from Indianapolis, we actually got pulled over. And I was driving, and I didn't know why we were pulled over, because like 95% of the time I get pulled over, I know what I had done. It's never a mystery, because, well, I'm a bit of a lead foot, or I used to be. Still am when the opportunity arises. But
or the right song comes on.
That's right. As soon as Jesus Built My Hot Rod comes on, it's like, oh great, now we're doing triple digits. So all right, negligent driving, 30 days jail. Right. Didn't go to jail, but I did get in trouble once for negligent driving.
Mm-hmm.
But the person that complained against me didn't show up to court, so Merry Christmas to me.
Hey.
Well, so that's not what happened after Warped Tour. You couldn't do negligent driving in a 40 Econoline van. Negligent driving, for those that don't know, is beyond reckless.
Right.
So, and what I did for that, I fishtailed in front of the Sears Tower, and I didn't mean to pull a Tokyo Drift in downtown Chicago, but yeah, Ministry was on the radio. I'm not making that part up. And then I was just learning the car. I had installed a 3500 stall torque converter with a 410 gear ratio, so it was like having a low gear on your bicycle, like in a mountain bike, you know. So you could you know, meant to go up a mountain easier, but if you're just on flat land, you take off fast, you know. Mm-hmm. So that's what was going on for those that ride bicycles. I used to. But back to the van. Sorry to be sidetracked here. So we got pulled over. I didn't know why. Apparently our license plate light bulb was out. That was why we got pulled over.
Yeah, no, that's a BS excuse to be pulled over. That happened to me once, and I was like, "There's these lights aren't on every car. Like the fact that you're trying, like, you would have to pull out or pull over so many people." Oh,
yeah, we have to pull people out of the car too. All right, so
get down here! Do you see this? This license plate is not lit. Cuff them, boys.
But the driver is. You are out of here. All right, so what happened was we got pulled over, and they stated that immediately, and my then bass player Keith, very good, very law-abiding citizen, and I pretty much just do whatever I want all the time without hurting anybody. So I don't know. I guess I have my own ethics or something. So yeah. I wasn't aware that the license plate light bulb was burnt out. But when they said this to me, I actually said to the officer, "Oh yeah, the registration expired 2 weeks ago. So here's your second ticket." Those are like my exact words to the guy. And then the officer was like, "Are you guys in a band?" And I noticed he had a mohawk. And I said, "Yeah, we just finished doing Warped Tour." It's like, "Is that still a thing?" I'm like, "Yeah, this is kind of the last year for it, by the way." It's like, "So last time I was there, I saw Bad Religion." I said, "Oh, Bad Religion wasn't there, but I think Joan Jett was or something that last year." And then I said, "Do you want a t-shirt from us?" I was like, "Do you want to search our vehicle?" I was like, because I'm sure the drums are a mess by now, so we can take stuff out and rearrange and get you some t-shirts. So, so he was like, "Sure, let's see what you got." I don't remember what he said exactly, but so we go to the back of the vehicle. It's on the side of Interstate 65. So we're probably near Lafayette, Indiana at this point on the way back. So that's between Indianapolis and Chicago. And so we go to the back. A second police car pulls up. This lady in this Chevy Tahoe. And so we got the back open. And I said, "Oh, what size shirt are you?" And it was like, "I'll get one for her too." And this is all true. I have a picture of this. And I have, let's say a caca eating grin on my face for the picture. And so I get out a t-shirt for her too. And I said, "I'd like to make a donation to you guys, you know, serve and protect for all those, you know, people you pulled over and gave DUIs and kept me alive. Thank you." So like, "Oh, we can't accept any gifts." I'm like, "Oh, okay. What do we do here?" And I'm like, "Well, I have cash." I'm like, "Okay." So I sold t-shirts to the police on the side of the road. And I said, "Yeah, I'll fix the bulb." And we're on our way back to Illinois. And so I close it up and I leave, no tickets issued. And then the bass player was really annoyed because he's like, "How do you break multiple laws and take cash from the police on the side of the highway?" And so I was like, "I don't know. But that's the truth. That's what happened." It's like, "Yeah, I broke this one. Hey, take my money." All right, like... So that's a really, I don't know. And that
Indiana
was...
cops are so much cooler than Illinois cops.
I can attest to that. I used to live down there.
Oh, by Lafayette?
Indianapolis.
Indianapolis?
Indy cops are really chill.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think these were state troopers. I'm not sure, though. It was nighttime. I think they were black vehicles. I think the state trooper vehicles are white. No, white is Illinois state trooper. I don't know what...
So. Yeah.
I don't know what Indiana is. I still have the picture. I'll show it to you.
They probably just have like those two state troopers.
It's just those two. We never got their names, and when they held up the T-shirts for the pictures, it was over their badges. So I wanted to actually like thank them or something somehow, but
reach back out.
I don't know where they are. But the first cop, the one with the mohawk, he was actually a drummer. So.
Yeah, I think you were pretty set after that.
I guess
you
so. Then we offered him, shirts and whatever. You want to check our drums? You want to search the vehicle? Go right ahead.
Want to audition to be in our band?
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
We probably have to take a pay cut, but hey, it's a hell of a time.
We could play a song called "Police Truck." You want to do that? All right.
Oh my god, that's awesome. But yeah, how was the Warped Tour experience? I mean, was that after you guys had opened up for the Misfits and started getting more opportunities like that?
Yep, it was honestly the first time we were not prepared because we were prepared to play. However, where you would park from the stage it wasn't a great distance, but it was like 200 yards.
Okay.
Well, we didn't realize that usually bands have carts and wagons to move all their stuff. Mm-hmm. We weren't used to that, so we had to carry all the T-shirts and carry all the drums. Dang. And load in took, I think, an hour and 15 minutes just for us to just move our stuff. Damn. And we were so looking forward to everything. It was like the night before Christmas when you still believe in Santa Claus, if you ever did. So, we're all excited. Mm-hmm. And then, 4 hours of sleep. And then it's hot out. And then we have to be there at 9 in the morning. And, there's no point to even showering before because we're going to sweat as soon as we step out because the van doesn't have AC. And everyone's going to be a good distance from us. So what do they care if we stink from 5 feet away? I mean, it never got to be that bad, but was...
it's touring life.
Yeah, it is. And so we weren't prepared the first time, but I felt as though we did really good because we got to come back. We got to play another time, but that did not come from simply asking. That actually took, work to make happen. And
also just selling your soul, giving out T-shirts to cops.
Yeah.
What's the process of getting on Warped Tour?
Well, originally, I guess I'm gonna give away something here, but
you don't have to.
That doesn't bother me. Well, the bottom line is, it came from helping out beforehand because I had volunteered and actually got. I actually had an idea as to how it worked and everything and how to deal with the talent. But I didn't simply, anyone can volunteer and help with ticket distribution or wristbands or anything like that. But I had a couple of years experience at a House of Blues in production. So I came to them armed with information saying hey, I know how to deal with load-ins, load-outs. If someone that's doing pretty good is on stage like a big headliner, I'm not going to be starstruck. And I stayed there at House of Blues, too, because I was everybody I like is dead. So, and as
makes it easier.
Unless Richie Valens is going to hit the stage or Johnny Thunders is going to be here, I'm not going to care about anyone that passes through. Nobody. I'm not going to ask for any autographs or anything. So, that was actually a pretty big selling point. And it was the truth, too, because I just didn't care. I mean, even with music fests and everything, most acts I wouldn't say I don't care about, but I'm never excited about anything. Because everything is, from before my time, so...
You're so LA.
Oh my goodness. I'm in La La Land.
Yeah.
Is that where I belong?
Maybe with the hair and and the hating everything that's put out today.
I wouldn't say I hate it. I just but I listen to.
teasing.
Oh, that's okay. But I listen to like a little bit of everything. Heck, I listen to Synthwave sometimes. So I guess that's kind of, I don't know if you want to say that's retro, or I don't know what you consider that is now. It's like a hybrid.
Hipster retro.
I guess so. I mean, I love driving to Synthwave, and especially when it's rainy outside and there's like purple or pink neons somewhere.
Sure.
It's like...
I prefer Vaporwave.
Do we need a Subaru WRX for this?
Yes.
Okay, we need a vape car. That could be a cool vanity plate. That's 7 letters.
Yeah.
That would fit.
That would
vape
be...
car.
Get on it, guys.
Oh my God.
See how many times you get pulled over in a week.
Let's put vape van. But that would look a little weird, actually, because it'd be...
Yeah.
Any vaping going on in this van? Like,
no, sir. Puff of smoke. It just hits him in the
no
face.
reports of vape.
So, let's cut to another song. Let's play something off of the album you guys have on Spotify, because I'm guessing you... Is that cool?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just so that we can give people a taste of, like, old and new. Is there a song... I'm guessing that you were playing these songs, like, on Warped Tour. Some of these were in the works.
Yes.
What was a song during that time that really... Like, this is the song you counted on. If you didn't have the audience yet, this was the one that was going to get them.
Believe it or not, it was the slowest one. It was actually Baby Blue. Because...
Baby Blue?
Yup, that sounds to me like a oldies song. More than anything else. And when we were playing Warped Tour on... I forgot what the stage was, but we were at a stage where people would just... they would have to walk past us if they wanted to see a headlining act. So sometimes, obviously, there's a duration of time where there's nothing going on that anyone cares to see for, like, an hour or something like that. So if we played this one and we weren't playing, like, detuned or, there was actually singing going on and not screaming, that is what actually caught some people. And some would actually stop to listen to that song. And some thought it was really interesting that people our age were playing music like that, and we weren't, baby boomers or part of the silent generation, if we want to go back that far.
Yeah, right. Going back 100 years.
That's right before... What was the silent generation? I think it was like 1944, and I think it started in 1925. Because my dad was older when he had me. My dad was part of the silent generation. He was born in 1944.
Dang.
Yup.
That's kind of cool.
Interesting.
Because I'm sure you got a hell of a lot of stories.
I got one that's about music and him and a car all at the same time.
The holy trifecta.
Neat.
So let's give Baby Blue a spin and picture yourself back in the good old days when Warped Tour was a thing and the world wasn't shite. You're listening to Baby Blue on the Underbelly Hours in my basement.
You told me your other man was gone.
I saw you have
Old,
driver. I saw you have
old me.
driver back there.
Yeah, Driver was. Man, I sucked at Driver as a kid.
That was like based on a movie, actually.
Was it?
Yeah, I didn't know until years later. There's a movie called The Driver from 1978, and it's very similar because you know, at the beginning of that video game, how you have to do like the little test in the parking lot and the parking garage, the underground one.
Well, that's like what you can't get out of. Like, how do you beat this game? I can't even get out of the tutorial.
Like in the middle of the movie, there actually is a scene exactly like that.
Where he's doing he's in a parking garage doing all that stuff.
Yeah, before we go, if you want to see it, it's like a 2-minute, I'll show you that one scene.
Yeah.
So, and obviously it was filmed in 1978, take place in then modern time, and Driver is like a late 70s setting, as you know. Mm-hmm. So it's
well, shit.
kind of interesting.
Super cool.
Changes my entire childhood.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I took the money. I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
All right, so that was Baby Blue. You're my boy, Blue. Sorry, I just had to. Every time I hear Blue, it's either that or I'm Blue, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die. Gotta hit all the references, you know. But back to, you know, the good stuff. Private Instigators.
Oh, well, thank you.
I think, well, how do I put this question? What's, like, because there's, there's Black Bolts that are doing, like, a classic rock sound. But, I mean, that's very, like, they're just going straight. Like, this is rock and roll.
Mm-hmm.
But you guys have that punk energy, which I love, but yet you still have, like, the doo-wop harmonies, you know, coming in. What's, like, the response you get from people nowadays? Like, do you think it's hard to market this kind of music nowadays, where everyone's just, like, on TikTok trying to look for the next big hit? Or are you finding an audience of people that are, like, sick of that shit and want to go back to, like, a more wholesome sound?
You know, it goes both ways. I'm glad you mentioned that, because if you are, say, a metal band, you can easily get on the bill with whoever because you sound like the rest of the people that people are expected to see. Or same with, like, rappers, which is fine, but when they hear us, it's like there isn't, like, any one thing to throw us into.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only thing that's kind of close that, but we don't have the sound to throw us into would be like if we were to play like a rockabilly fest, but we're not a rockabilly band. No, I mean, I love that stuff. Don't get me wrong. I mean, like, you know, Gene Vincent is one of my favorites, and Eddie Cochran, and I like all that stuff, but that's not how we play.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, we're a bit too hard for that, but we're not hard enough for psychobilly. So we're kind of stuck in the middle with a few things. But when someone says like, "Oh, I've never heard a mix like this before," it actually is. I can almost see it as kind of like a relief sometimes, because a lot of modern stuff that charts is all very similar. But I've kind of noticed that over time with almost any era of music. I mean, at least pop music.
Yeah.
With the exception of the 60s. Because that was the one decade I could think of where almost every year for charting songs were different. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, you had the tail end of doo-wop was like 1962. Mm-hmm. And then I guess the Beatles came over in 64, I think. The British invasion 64. They played the U.S. in 65, I think. And then please correct me if I'm wrong. I may be off on the years.
I think you're off by 1 year for
that.
I think I think their first album was like 63 or something, and they were still in the UK and stuff.
Right.
And they finally came over in 64.
I'm not a big Beatles fan. I love their early stuff, but like, so there was that style that year, and then another year there was folk, like Peter, Paul, and Mary was on top, and then psychedelic rock. You had Hendrix. Like, every year was like different. There like wasn't like a given formula.
Right. It was the explosion of genres.
Right.
And
so
I think that was I've talked to a lot about this with people who are interested in this time period because, you know, I'm a old soul and most people my age are just like, why aren't you listening to the new Billie Eilish album? And like, because she's done the same talk, singing, whisper shit for the past 3 years. Do something else. Sorry, Billie.
No,
I love you, but
you're good.
I'm sorry.
I was like, I say something about Billie for a second.
Oh yeah, sure.
I actually I met her once when I was
really?
still at House of Blues. There was a after show for Lollapalooza, and I was in. It was kind of funny. I was in the elevator with her, and we had the same color green hair.
Right.
And I mean, at the time, because mine's faded a little bit now, but she had like no reaction to it. I mean, she kind of looked and looked back down at the floor. So that was kind of silly. But one thing about her music was kind of interesting. There's different versions of what was her best known song? I'm so sorry. Or her first hit.
First like big hit. Was
Yeah.
it Ocean Eyes.
Ocean Eyes.
Ocean Eyes, I think, was the one that really got her attention.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking about Bad Guy.
Oh, the one off the album that
Yes.
really like billion views.
If you want to hear something really cool, and this is even for people that are fans of Billie, if you look up, there's like a club speed of that song where they speed up the song by 15-20%.
Dang. Okay.
And it sounds like a club song from like what you would hear like in Chicago, like in a house party, like literally like not like house. I'm talking like house music party from like 1992 or when the Bulls were the best team in the world. That sounds really cool. And there's another version by I think it's the Intruders or there's like a ska version of the song too, and it sounds really cool.
Whenever you go ska, it's gonna be great. I must admit, as a ska head, you can't go wrong with ska.
Oh, you like ska too?
Yeah, I'm a huge ska fan. But I mean, I love Billie's voice, and I think it's just she needs to use it more. Because I think she did the song for James Bond. I think that new one, and she like gets this huge like belting note, and it sounds beautiful, and it has the power, and just like, why can't she do this more?
What was that?
Yeah, but then she goes back to the record, and it's like,
I'm the bad guy.
Yeah.
Duh.
But-
can I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah.
Can you tell me the difference between ska and rocksteady? Because I do not know. I can hear it, but I can't explain it. Or is that's a close one?
That one might be outside of my area of expertise, I must admit.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm that much of a scholar
Ha!
to accurately answer that one. Sorry, you had one with the furry earlier. I did put one in myself.
I know someone else that put one into a furry. So,
but no, we're gonna try and get Bumsy and the Moochers on the show, and then we'll dive into all the different subgenres and variations of ska, because there's second wave ska, third wave ska, fourth wave ska, and then there's Streetlight Manifesto, which is like their own thing, and
There's Japanese ska bands.
yeah.
The Japanese punk bands are really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know if you ever heard, like, Thug Murder. They're in I guess you can put the 5, 6, 7, 8s in the category too, but so much fun.
Nice. I'll have to check them out.
I saw them in Chicago once. I mean, if you're not familiar with, or for the listeners that are not familiar with the music, you probably at one point heard them before, because they were in Kill Bill. They were the band that was playing like right before one of the fight scenes, and they had this cover of Woohoo that was on like a Vondage commercial. Woohoo, woohoo. Sorry, I could do it better. Woohoo, woohoo. That song.
I know that one now.
So that was the 5, 6, 7, 8s, and I think I gotta share this real fast with your listeners. They were playing Chicago. They were playing Reggie's. And it was clear to me that I guess they didn't really know too much English. So I personally do not like it when I feel like a band is, they should be playing to a bigger audience. Sometimes I get upset that they're not more successful.
Yeah.
Or sometimes, because when they played Reggie's, they played the Little Room. They They didn't play the bigger one. So I guess it was a cool
So
setting.
they played the one like in the restaurant.
Yeah,
area?
they played the restaurant. I enjoyed the show and everything, but I knew they didn't really know too much English. So what I did was the day before, no, 2 days before, whatever, before the show, I typed up something on a typewriter, no, on a computer, and I translated it to Japanese, and I blew it up to I don't know, maybe 48 font, so the singer could read it. And I handed it to the singer after the show because they were so little, not talking like size, talking like they were packing their own gear after the show. They didn't even have help. And some were going up to him and saying, "Oh, great show, thank you very much, thank you very much." I think that's all they kind of knew how to say. And then I handed the singer this piece of paper and then stopped. She stopped and just read the message, 100% focus for 10 seconds and then bowed to me or said thank you, because I translated it to Japanese and I said, your band is more rock and roll than the Beatles could ever be. And I guess
Hopefully Google translated that well.
I hope so, because I don't know if it's because I know
Your music is like a beetle in a rock. She's like, oh,
I'm stuck
okay,
doing
nice.
a Beetle in a hard place.
Yeah.
A hard day's night at Reggie's. Maybe I didn't put it in the right way. Now I think about it, because we read differently. They read left to right, or at least they do in books.
Well,
the way we'd open a book is backwards
left, yeah.
compared to them,
Right.
or we're backwards compared to them. I don't know. Depends who you ask. So hopefully it was in the right order. Hopefully the words were in the right order. I don't know, but I guess it was enough to make to understand that I was complimenting the band.
I think, yeah. I mean, the Beatles are pretty world known.
Oh yeah,
across the world, and across the universe.
But
that's what we were on about. Was I was gonna say 65. That's when the Beatles and the Beach Boys were going back and forth on, the Beatles put out Rubber Soul, which started introducing all these psychedelic elements a little bit, touching upon them. Not quite there yet. Velvet Revolver would bring that around, but yeah, and then Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys heard Rubber Soul and was like, psh, I can beat that. And him and Paul McCartney kind of had this back and forth, and then Pet Sounds came out. That inspired Paul McCartney to write Sgt. Pepper. And after that, that inspired all these bands to start just genre bending and start incorporating all these different styles of music. And that's why on the charts every year, it wasn't just rock or pop or, it was everything. There was a folk artist up there, a psychedelic rock band, there was, jazz was still charting and stuff. And I think it was just a time where people really appreciated the evolution of music, what was happening, because those styles have never been heard before. Now it's oh yeah, psychedelic rock, and then you get a knockoff crap like Tame Impala or whatever. But
Tame Impala. I haven't heard that name in a while. I don't. I've heard.
Everyone's oh my gosh, it's amazing. It's and this guy's ripping off the Beatles.
I heard that name before, and I think I remember in the comment section on Facebook years ago. I think I gave it a listen. And I think I said the band should be called Lame Impala, and
clever.
And I don't know. I think I Google imaged a 2007 Impala. And I was like, because this car's also lame.
Yeah.
Versus a 6'4" that Eazy-E would be driving.
It's such an 8th grade cafeteria joke, right? More like Lame Impala. It's shut up, your dad's in jail.
Oh my god. That's interesting.
Did I paint a picture for y'all?
It wasn't tame.
No.
I envisioned it, even down to the metal pans.
I think you would think that would be the case nowadays with the ease of access to music production, and everyone's a musician now, making music and marketing themselves as such. Everyone's got their brand. You'd think there'd be quite a variety of styles, but it's still just like the same pop structure and pop songs. And here you are doing this crazy synthesis of old and less old.
Yes.
And making it new.
You're right. Thank you for saying that. I will admit there was one song that is done, other than the fact that there's no vocals, because writing lyrics has always been the most difficult part. But I did it with Tommy recently, and I'll admit that there was a little bit of the modern pop formula I was putting into it to try to see if we can
Sell out.
Well, I guess if we can get on other radio stations a little bit easier, we get the attraction of more of a bigger audience. But it was still sticking to the roots.
Right.
This is technical, but I know you'll understand, so I'll explain it to you. So we were still doing like a 1, 4, 5 chord structure, but the most common key of pop songs is actually the key of C. Because apparently it's the most easy chord to play on piano, since most pop songs are written on piano. So subconsciously, most people are tuned into that key. Yeah. So I'm like, all right, so I got to do this in the key of C, and then we can't do like an instrumental intro because
you got to get right to the vocals.
Vocals immediately. Mm-hmm. So there was that, and we put that formula together, but still did it with strings, not just keyboards. We don't have any keyboards at all, actually. Mm-hmm. So now I guess I'm trying to put a little bit more of I wouldn't say the new style, but BC Boys, yes, I know. So I guess it would be like trying to, put a Tesla engine into a 59 Corvette. So if we could try to actually stick to what we started as, but still have a little bit of modern influence, I guess, in arrangement, we'll say. Not production, but arrangement. Hopefully that can get us, progress us a little bit more. So I guess you could say, yeah, trying to sell out, but we're not trying to compete with, what's popular at the moment. We're still sticking to what we want to do.
You're just,
and always
giving a sacrifice to the algorithm gods.
Right. And always open to suggestion. If someone says, oh, try it like this, or maybe try it down half a step or something, it'll be easier for your singer. I'm always open to suggestion. Doesn't mean I have to follow it, but I'll listen to what everyone has to say. Especially when it comes to like different tempos and everything like that. And sometimes if you dig into music, as I'm sure you do, you'll find different versions of songs by the same artist. Some are different tempos. And even when it came to my favorite stuff like doo-wop stuff, you would actually find things at different tempos. Or like there was a version in 56, then 1961, and that was like really apparent with, for example, the song Blue Moon. Because I think that actually came out originally in like 1934. And then there was a fast version in 1956. And then the one everyone knows, when it comes to that
there's
stuff.
There's a ska version in 1998.
Oh, who's that one by?
I'm kidding.
I'd like to hear it. But
I just assume there's a ska version of every song. There's ska bands out there covering everything.
Oh, believe me, I first passed out. My only time I ever passed out at a concert was to Real Big Fish. Yeah, it was a mistake to eat a bunch of potato skins and then go into the pit with a hoodie on. Yeah, that was
ska pits are fun.
Ska pits. That sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. That sounds like a deodorant company that has a bunch of checkers on the logo.
Oh yeah.
Ska pits.
Ska pits. When I'm in the pit, I'm gonna punch and kick.
Instead of pick it up, sweat it out. Sweat it out.
Sweat it up.
Yes. I could totally see that working.
Oh yeah.
Well, there's your new side business.
Oh yeah, no.
Ska pits.
Ska pits. No, patent it today.
And then you need to sponsor Korn's tour. That'd be funny. Like, yeah, a ska brand sponsoring Korn. Or like Slipknot. That's disturbing. Yes.
I just think it's funny to throw that noise into every of those like new metal bands. Just, it's such an iconic.
I met that singer once. He's actually kind of short.
Oh yeah, no, he's not a tall fellow, but he's a cool dude.
Yeah, he is.
David Draymond, all like classically trained and all that garbage.
Yeah, he spent an hour warming up his vocals because they were playing. They were playing House of Blues. I think after they had not played in, I guess, a good amount of time, and they were just releasing an album. This is like 5-6 years ago.
Okay.
And around that time, yeah, he was a pretty interesting guy.
Yeah, he warming up for an hour. I just watched an interview with Miles Kennedy, if you know him, from Alter Bridge, and he sings with Slash too. And he went on this whole thing where like he used to warm up for like an hour and a half before shows or before recording, and then he like realized that he was just super tired by the end of the set, and everyone was like, "Yeah, no shit, you warmed up for an hour." And but he went on this whole tangent about he took more voice lessons from this pretty famous vocal coach named Ron Anderson, and has done a lot of work with big singers. Like he even worked with Lane Staley of Alice in Chains too. And he said like once you get that like the key that unlocks everything to your voice, the openness, the mask, everything is in its place, you really just got to warm up for like 10-15 minutes and then you're there. So I'll have to call up David Draymond and be like, "Hey man, an hour's a little too much," and then just pass him the video of Miles Kennedy and be like, "Who the hell are you? How'd you get in here?" And like, I just heard I have a local podcast. I had a guest on say that you warm up for an hour. It's like, yeah, still, you're not answering how you got in here. I'm going too long with this bit. Anyways.
Don't worry about how I got in here. We're talking now.
Yeah, we're talking now. I'm saving your voice, buddy. All right? You're going to thank me. Now let me open up for you.
And you can make 4 times the amount of revenue now by giving 15-minute lessons.
Pull out the whole
chart. Pull up a chart.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you could be having a bigger house and throwing... exactly. It's like, listen to me. I have business advice for you.
I'm sure he loves getting that. Is the song you were talking about where you started to mess around with like the newer format? Is that the ones you gave me?
No, it is not. Because we don't have any vocals for it. Yeah, nothing's hit. Because I can only write what I feel as though is presentable material to other bandmates when I'm sleep deprived for some reason. And it always comes out like within like 10 or 15 minutes. I can't be like working on something all day. And if that does happen, then it's just like, well, if I didn't have it immediately, then I don't feel like it's worth our time. At least that's how it's always worked with me. I mean,
it's a definitely a method because it works a lot for some bands. Some bands they swear by it. It's like if it's not the gut instinct idea, then we're probably just wasting our time. Like I think again, I'll bring it back to the Chili Peppers. They usually go with like the first idea that comes to them because they've been doing it for long enough and have done the writing sessions where they just keep pumping out ideas. And they usually end up going back to that first one because it was just like, I think there is something to your maybe subconscious or just your gut artistry that, you're channeling something and it's like that first one is the one that wants to be like heard. That's the best idea. And yeah, so that's usually, I can relate. Awesome. In my writing, that's very much the same thing. It's like the first idea is usually the best.
Has it been like that for recording with you as an artist too?
Like if I'm maybe like improvising to something for like a solo, and I just like I'm noodling like because I don't like writing out solos or lead parts. I kind of just go around and mess around, and usually it's like the first idea is the one that I end up wanting to go with, and then
Right.
I'll have to just like re-record it better. But it's like that initial idea was like, I don't know. There's something to it. Something in the air, man. Something in the ether that's like communicating through your soul, man. You just gotta like let it be open, man. All right, and let the music gods like talk through you, man. You get what I'm saying, man? Anyways, let's play like another song off, like, you know, your new music, man. What would you? I'm sorry, I'll drop the voice.
Oh, you're.
But let's play another song.
You're fine. Let the people be heard.
And what would you like to play? Get to You or Black High Times?
Well, let's see here. Let's actually do Get to You.
Okay.
Because that was the first one that I had composed complete in a long time. And this is also something else that Tommy is singing. And we did this one. We recorded it during 2020, last year. We actually did...
During the dark times.
During the dark times. And, there was actually quite a few things musically we were doing at the time, even if we couldn't perform in public.
Nice. And we'll do like a little rundown of that after this song called "Get to You" by Private Instigators.
By the Blues Brothers.
By the Blues Brothers. You're listening to like the Underbelly Hours, man. Like in my basement. So you said that song was mostly written during the dark times, the quarantine.
Yes. That was composed by me, and I had some lyrics written out for it, but literally like an hour before we went to record the vocals, Tommy and I were just working on the lyrics together, and I was actually really happy about that, because I would originally, when I would be working with other people, and if I had lyrics and melodies were never a good thing for me. They still aren't, unless it's a chorus, because apparently my past singer said I could write a chorus melody, but I couldn't write really a chorus verse. but I think, a melody for the verses, but I was okay with the choruses. But I guess I would listen to enough music where I would know, I guess, what would be memorable or catchy or something. But that's from all over the place. I wasn't just listening to the main influences. I listened to everything. In fact, I still listen to the top 40 every now and then just to know what's going on. I mean, we kind of have to. So that song was done in 2020, and we co-wrote the lyrics, but I did like all the music, and I'm actually really happy about it. And we're gonna be playing it when we play our first shows that we haven't played at all this year. First shows in a year and a half. Our last show was technically in Los Angeles before our lockdown. We did that in February of 2020.
Wow.
So we're going to be playing, was it the Stockyard in Rockford on October 22nd, and Livewire October 23rd, Saturday. So if anyone's in those areas, please come out and see us, because we would love to see some faces again.
Nice. Yeah, so you guys wrote a lot during quarantine then? Was like a lot of this new music conceived in like through the interwebs?
Well, we composed a few, but not too many, because there was I wanted to play, Tommy wanted to play, but our then bass player did not. I guess this is where that last year kind of broke a few bands up. Some bands weren't going to make it anymore because of perhaps different views on how to handle ourselves last year.
Yeah.
And we had offers to actually play last year at, believe it or not, like things that were a little socially distant, and they were outdoors. We got multiple offers to play car shows that were outside, and everybody was going to be like 5 feet apart, 6 feet apart, and it didn't bother me to do that, but I still wanted to take precaution. But the singer didn't want to like play at all, so instead of saying, well, we're doing this, I just said, all right, fine, I respect your view, and when you're ready, we'll do it. Because you can't make anyone do anything, at least my point of view, and I wouldn't want anyone doing that to me either. So I just respectfully just gave him his space and everything. Then we just focused on writing, and it wasn't like anyone was going to come out to shows anyway, or at least not at that time. And I felt as though sometimes bands that did play would almost, correct me if I'm wrong or state your opinion, there's really no way to confirm or deny this, but if you played during that time, it doesn't matter what your views were, sometimes you would be kind of blacklisted a little bit if they said that you were playing during an unsafe time.
Oh yeah, there was definitely a mob mentality that attacked people that were trying to go out and play shows, and that's across all
right
scenes of entertainment.
So so I figured it would be good to just lay low, just so we didn't ruin our reputation of
rustle anyone's feathers.
Right. I mean, I will personally any other time, but when it comes to like the reputation of like a band or something, or it's like this is what we still want to do with ourselves, like if we have to sit out, but that means we could still do more when the time is right. I was fine with it. In fact, 2020 was actually pretty interesting to me, and I know a few other artists too, where we didn't have to worry about trying to land the good summer shows. We didn't have to get like we didn't have to try to make sure that we could take time off our day jobs to go play somewhere in like New Jersey.
Right.
So if anything, it was actually a little less stressful last year, where we were all kind of forced into a vacation. But you wouldn't feel bad about staying home. In a weird way, you would feel good depending on who you're asking, but you could sit at home and not feel like, well, I should be working harder because these bands are playing these big shows, but no one's playing right now. So we can relax and not feel bad about it, and we can come out even stronger when we're ready to. So that's how 2020 was for Private Instigators and me personally, and everything like that. It was a year I'll never forget, but I mean, I still see it as a good year because I made it through the year.
Yeah, and it seemed a lot of artist types, you know, did kind of need that break almost. I mean, it wasn't like, you know what I'm saying, people. It wasn't like a break because the whole world was on fire, but it was a break from the norm, and I think it possibly saved a lot of people from that burnout. I knew a lot of people that were like ready to just, you know, set their hair on fire and just like, I'm done, get me out of here. And it kind of forced everyone into this place of recalculating and recalibrating. And silver lining, you know, good with the bad. So it's good to hear that you guys came out of it with your heads intact and stuff. But now we're in 2021, you know, and obviously there's still things evolving with different states' limitations and restrictions or whatever and what have you. But you said your old singer was like no shows. Was that continuing into 2021 and was there a time where you were like you had to make the case where it's like I think it's time we go out there? It seems pretty safe to do so.
I mean I wanted to, but I guess at one point Keith decided he just didn't want to play anymore, not just play with the Instigators, but
just hanging it up
at all. Like he didn't want to play at all.
Yeah. Also, something that happened to a few artists I know. The time off kind of just made them realize, I don't know if I want to do this anymore.
I mean, I still do, and Tommy still does, and everyone else involved still does. But sometimes you just, I don't know. I mean, I actually enjoyed the break, and I was ready to go again. But the truth of the matter is that Keith and I, we were butting heads for a little while. But that might have been the final straw because he actually one day called me up and said, "Oh, I quit." And I was just like, "Okay." And I didn't even argue or anything. There wasn't any name calling. Nobody raised any voices or anything. And I said, "Are you completely done or are you just done for now?" And he's like, "I am completely done." I'm like, "All right, well, if you ever want to play again or join us on stage or whatever, you're always welcome to." Because I've always liked him as a musician, but as being in a band, as you know, it's like being in a relationship with multiple people at once, and you all have to like each other off stage. And I think that's a lot of times why lineups will change was because you might not like the person anymore, or maybe you never did off stage. Because when we're playing on stage, everything's fine. And then when we're like off stage and, you know, I might be interested in something else that he's not, or I might have a different view on something. But that's just like with other members. And then you learn what you can say and can't say, or what's sensitive to someone, what isn't. And then I would have a tendency to just not say something to push someone's buttons because I want to keep them around. I want to play on stage. If I have to keep my mouth closed or whatever, so be it, because I'd rather keep my mouth shut and play Warped Tour than to just, you know, jabble on onto a way where it's like, well, we're looking for someone else again because I said something stupid. Yeah. So. The dynamics off stage in some ways are more important than the dynamics on stage, because you should feel comfortable around the people off stage, because that's where a lot of the harder work is done, honestly. The logistical stuff, the chemistry, that's all built off stage. And so if you're feeling like you need to hold your tongue and can't be yourself or can't say what's on your mind, that eventually over time builds into this thing that just, in my opinion, probably isn't meant to work out. So but it's nice to hear that it resolved, or at least ended
amicably, because bands usually don't end that nicely. Well, I'm not saying that you guys were ending,
Right.
but like, there's never a departure. It's very
Right.
rare when a departure is done respectfully and everyone's still on good terms. It's usually, like you said, name calling and resentment and like, what the
Right.
insert cuss words here.
Oh yeah, I mean, if we were like to have a falling out or something, I mean, usually I don't use cuss words. I would say things that are actually like far worse, but G-rated, which can agitate a person a little bit more.
All right.
Or
you're cutting to the bone with truth.
Oh yeah, it's with truth. I mean, that's a quick way to hurt someone's feelings is to
honesty.
I mean, and that's the way you put it too. Like,
it's the best and harshest policy.
Right. That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true because there were obviously a couple of disagreements that we had, and I said how we can resolve them, and I guess we had a disagreement on how to resolve things, and then that led see, this is how I phrase it.
So you gave him the truth. You are objectively an idiot, and tell him to piss off.
I didn't.
Sorry.
No,
I'm
you're
speaking from my own experience.
No, you're good. I mean, I wish I could talk to somebody like that, but I just don't.
I'm kidding. I only talk to Josh and Adela that way.
It's true.
Every week, I'm just like, you are objectively the worst person I've ever met.
You haven't met my mother.
You haven't met mine.
Oh my goodness.
It's the Grinch. Scatter. Good times.
Interesting.
Yeah. But you guys got, the drummer has upgraded to vocals or downgraded, depending on who you ask. And you guys are making your way back to the stage, which is exciting. I'm glad to hear it. What's on the to-do list upcoming after these shows? You got new music in the works that we played a little bit here. What's the timeline of things happening for you guys?
New music in the works. We would like to make another music video also. We have a location to do that. And if this works the way we're going to be playing these next two shows, we're going to be doing it a lot more often, because I would like to actually book a bunch or be on tour with another act that's at a higher place than we are right now. But the way we're playing right now is the drummer is being flown out from Pasadena. And yep, Pasadena. Not the little old lady from Pasadena, the little drummer boy from Pasadena. So he
that's the second children's book.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Right.
The little drummer boy from Pasadena.
If we actually made a children's book, that's funny. That could be an interesting merch thing. We'd put things that were like incorrect in the book, like say it's 2021 and he catches a flight from TWA. It's like exactly. So like little things like that would be like inaccurate.
Yeah.
Or it was like, oh, I need a copy of the songs before I get out there. And we send them like a 3.5-inch floppy disk. Like here's the songs. So that would be part of the children's. But I guess to get the parents to laugh or something
and then
like that.
You're teaching kids about floppy disks.
Right.
There was a time, youngsters, when even before CDs, where you had to insert a black rectangular card into your PC to get maybe a megabyte of information.
Right. So we have two shows, and I want to book a bunch more, but I want to make sure that that this works right now, because it would seriously be obviously a pain to have 30 shows booked and then we can't get along or we can't play after the first show. Yeah. So Tommy said that he wouldn't really call this experimental shows, but I would say they are, because I want to see how it all works, because we're going to like rehearse the day before and then play. But this other guy has about 5 songs under his belt with us already, because he played when Tommy couldn't play, when Tommy's father was dying, and he didn't want to leave the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
So when we played on tour, we had this other person, Sam, come out. He was living in Illinois at the time, and then had since moved to California. So he always said to me, if you ever need anything, just let me know. So like 3 months ago, I said, hey, we're thinking about playing again, but Tommy's going to sing.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to jump in on Skins? And he said, yes. So
And there you go.
it's going to be kind of interesting to see there's a singer-drummer watching another drummer.
Yeah.
So that's where I don't know if this will or will not work. I think it will. I'm 80% certain it will.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure it does before we decide to apply to South by Southwest.
Right. Yeah. Well, it eventually worked for Dave Grohl, so.
Right. You know what he played? It was only him on the first 3 albums, or just the first album?
The first 2, technically. Because the first drummer they had, he went and re-recorded all the drum parts.
Right.
Without telling the drummer, and then they fired him.
Nice.
Or they didn't fire him. The drummer was like, I can't play with you guys after that. Are you kidding me? What kind of move is that?
Why would you say that? I mean, I would just swallow my pride and play. Like, all right, I'll do it like this next time. But that's just me.
Yeah. Huh. To each their own, I guess. But I'm 80% is a good chance. I think you guys will make it.
Well, thank you.
And so sorry, brain fart. I was about to go into this whole other thing, but we're running short on time, so let's start wrapping this up. Unfortunately, I wish we could do like a 3-hour mega podcast like Joe Rogan. But, musicians don't have that kind of attention span. So
Wait, what?
We'll wrap it up.
What, tacos? What? All right.
Food. Blast beats.
Horchata. All right. Sweet.
But yeah, so a lot of cool stuff coming up for you guys. Where can people find you to stay updated to all the releases and upcoming shows? And
all platforms except for TikTok. We don't have one yet. I think we should, but that's something I'll have to tackle. But Instagram and Facebook are our best go-tos right now. And I put something up usually every weekday on the gram, and on Facebook that's where you can find the shows for sure.
Right.
On there, obviously. But and if you want to ever contact us, just send us a DM and
the world we live in.
Yeah, it's actually kind of nice where you can contact someone that easily.
Yeah, for sure. It's a double-edged sword, but that's a whole other digression.
I agree completely.
For the next time you're on.
Oh,
but we didn't even get to some other stuff. If this man is also, in case you didn't get any of the hints, he's quite the car nut, and he has this really cool. I just wanted to plug this really quick because it was a really cool video to watch.
You saw it?
Yeah,
cool.
Awesome. You were on a Vin Wiki show talking about how you were able to get your dad's BMW back by playing music and then just like trading cigarettes, I think, if I remember correctly. But
I can give the Cliff Notes.
Yeah.
Cliff Notes is I found a car that used to belong to my father when I was a child, and I raised money during 2020 by playing guitar in an apartment and accepting donations until I felt like I had enough cash on me to give this previous owner an offer. And the deal was $2,500 and 3 cartons of Newport cigarettes. And the car had no title, and it was on the west side of Chicago in K-Town. So if you want to see that, go to the YouTube page for VinWiki, VINWIKI. It's easiest just to go on YouTube and type VinWiki BMW V12.
Yeah.
You'll find it instantly there. So that's how I paid for a BMW, by playing music, technically. And I always wanted to purchase a car with 3 chords. And I did.
Yeah, so check out that video, guys, for more for another fun story from Dom. And yeah, I think that's about a wrap. Thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing all your stories and the latest from Private Instigators. I think you guys have a really cool sound that is classic yet fresh, and it's going to be fun to see what you guys do with it in the future. I wish you the best of luck, and you guys deserve all the success that will be coming your way.
Thank you very much.
I want to get really professional with that.
It was an honor to be here.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I just string this together and, pull the drape down, just like,
It works.
We're a podcast. Hey, 2021, everyone's got a podcast. No, I'm kidding. If you did like what you heard and you want to hear more amazing, great local talent, curated by the masterminds that me and Adela are. Kidding. I'm not that egotistical. I'm that egotistical. But yeah, follow and subscribe to our channels as well. The Underbelly Hours on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, where we post the video portions of the podcast along with clips and some other funny segments. Check out our Homegrown Arts and Music Festival recap videos. Those are also a blast, where you can hear our interviews with all the amazing talent that was at that fest. And yeah, stick around for more info as well on our monthly showcase at Dry City, monthly songwriter showcase. We will be announcing who will be on that bill for October 23rd. So if you're in the area and like good beer, stay tuned for more on that. And I think that's about a wrap on this Adela-less episode. See, I can do things on my own. I'm trying to stare into the souls of Adela through the ether to try and contact her wherever she's, fighting the Crusaders and aliens. Prove to her that I can do things. I can do things. I'm a grown man. Anyways, thanks for listening, guys. Thanks again, Dom, for being on the show.
Thank you.
This has been another episode of the Underbelly Hours in my basement. Bye.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your girl, it's the boys. All sorts of things are happening on the show today.
So, yeah, welcome to the show.
Oh, it'll be a good time.
If you like what you hear,
Are you ready?
you can find us on Underbelly Hours,
All sorts of
on all the socials, where you get your favorite local takes on the local greats.
Here it comes, ready? Sing it with us.